Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Jorgensen. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off. Hat-trick hero. Cole Palmer wins an epic, sensational game.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode,
Pep Guardiola said, "I don't want to run away. I asked for this challenge and opportunity." As soon as I read that, all I could think about was him singing, "I don't want to run away, but I can't take it. I don't understand." Oh, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. I'm joined in a virtual room filled with some lions. I got Ollie, I got Berth. It's the Friday show on a Friday, and welcome YouTube listeners, because we're now on there now. Woo!
Oh, really?
We are. That took a little bit of time to sort that out, but I got it working.
Only took us 5 years.
5 years. Good enough.
Well,
But I want to know what you are looking forward to this weekend, team. Come on. Listeners need to know.
Wild weekend for me. I'm getting a haircut tomorrow.
oh my god!
That's it. That's it. To be honest with you, that's it. That's it. And I haven't got much hair left, so it's not really a highlight for me anymore. It's just.
So you're one of those people who like haircut is their word hair is actually singular.
Oh wow!
Yeah. It's more of a nightmare now than a dream for me getting a haircut. But
Bloody hell.
For me, I'm just looking forward to not being cold this weekend.
That's good.
I'm gonna snuggle up, put the heating on this weekend, and just stay warm because it's so fucking cold at the moment, and it's just not worth like being outside ever right now.
Well, I can see your logic there. I can see your logic. I'm going straight to Christmassy vibes, so that's probably why Chris has abandoned this show. He's coming back. He hasn't abandoned us.
No, he's abandoned us.
You can't spell Christmas without Chris.
Exactly. And I'm going to the Christmas market in Worcester tomorrow, so that's pretty awesome. My Christmas lights are up because it's never too early, and it's December 1st Sunday, so you know. And of course, there'll be baking involved this weekend. NFL is on the schedule for Sunday night, but you know what? Let's get to some football because I know that's what the listener wants to know. That's what you guys want to know. I've got Saturday, 5:20, the Klassiker, Dortmund host Bayern Munich. That's pretty
nice.
Good. 10 minutes earlier, weird kickoff, but 5:20, you've got England women taking on Emma Hayes' USA. It's a friendly.
That'll still be quite a good game, I think.
Yeah. Sunday, you've got first versus second in their Eredivisie. It's FC Utrecht hosting PSV. That's straight away a shocking turn of events to have a team not called Ajax or Feyenoord in second place. And of course, you've got the MLS playoffs. But this is why this is the headliner. Saturday night, Copa Libertadores final. Atletico Mineiro take on Botafogo in what promises, listener, to be an epic showdown. Atletico Mineiro, they're managed by former Barca defender Gabriel Milito, brother of Diego. And it's got a couple of familiar names that you may know. It's got ex-Everton star Bernard, Eduardo Vargas, and, of course, the one and only, never played for us, but he bloody wish he would, Hulk. Hulk's there.
Nice.
They're not doing very well in the league. But Botafogo, they've got Alan, another Everton former player, and Thiago Almada. And
explains why they're not doing well. They've got Bernard and Alan in there.
Well, Alan plays for Botafogo.
Oh, okay. But you know, is it the Brazilian league, right? You
yeah.
know, it's always sure to be a fiery and strong atmosphere. Yeah,
it's a South American Champions League final, essentially.
That'll be good. Yeah, always good. It's always going to be a good atmosphere. Maybe someone will run onto the pitch with a gun. Like that guy did that one time, you know, in the Brazilian league.
My word!
You know, pyros, fights. It's you know, give it a watch.
It's live. It's live on BBC iPlayer and BBC Three. So
I'll be tuning in.
If you can't watch it, listener, you know there's VPNs. Just saying. And right before we dive into the news, it's time for a Shevva shout out. I've got a few here, but first we're gonna take a trip to the home of the Miami Dolphins, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Miami Heat, Orlando Pride, and so many more awesome sports teams because we have two shout outs first from the state of Florida. We've got
Sunshine State. Let's get it.
We've got David, Florida here too, up the Chelsea Great Pod, because they were responding to the original Florida shout out, which was McFounds, who said, "Can I get a shout out from Florida, USA? You lot are truly a breath of fresh air. Keep up the great work, lads. Up the Chelsea." Straight away.
Nice.
Thank you.
It's crazy. I still find it crazy that people from like Florida and all these wonderful countries just listen to us, and it's just amazing, quite heartwarming, really.
I've got.
Here's a question. Here's a question for the Florida listeners, specifically for them. Is your state as weird as everyone thinks it is, or like, is there a reason for your headlines being like that? I would like to know.
Let us know. And one for, we have got another two. I'm saving it for the questions because it's got a question in it. But the final for this segment is from Dane. "Hi guys, just a shout out here. I'm an Aussie living in Canada and absolutely love the pod. I've been listening for the past 3+ seasons and never miss an episode. Best Chelsea pod out there." Thank you, all of you. Thank you.
Love it, Dane. Thank you very much.
I love this. I love how wholesome it is. It really does. So, time to hit some news. It's that time of the week. We're going to check out the news you may have missed in the elevator of Chelsea news. Chelsea are apparently considering selling Reece James and could possibly let him go for less than 20 million plus clauses that accumulate to a more realistic figure depending on how much he plays. The Jordan brand will not design Chelsea kits if the club fail to qualify for the next season's Champions League. Chelsea Academy defender Joshua Champong trained with the first team squad this week. Frank Lampard has agreed to become and is appointed the Coventry City manager. And finally, Graham Potter appeared on the High Performance podcast to talk all things about the Chelsea job instead of actually trying to get a job. So that's just none of my business. I will talk about the High Performance pod, but I guess Reece James update, isn't it? Scans revealed he'd suffered a new hamstring problem rather than a reoccurrence, obviously the past one. Chelsea are apparently internally positive that it's not bad, but as Maresca said, they're cautious on timeframes, which add pressure to the recovery. They don't want to add timeframes for him. You know what?
Yeah, I've just said it all before, like, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm bored by it. Like a Uber. Like it's just
yeah.
Go on, Berth.
It's one of them, right? And it sounds horrible to say, but I mean, obviously, I want James to do well, and I think he's a great player, amazing player. But it's like, how many more times can we do this now?
Yeah, honestly, we had him in the last chance saloon at the start of the season, and right now, I've made my mind up. He can't stay fit, and we should just move on from our captain in the summer. Give it to maybe Colwill. I don't know. Maresca doesn't really care about captains, so that sort of says that. But Reece has sort of gone from right back to be right back, and we just can't have it. We can't have it, and it's such a shame because he is, when fit, world class. He is. However, he can't stay fit,
which is never,
and that's a shame.
And yeah, that's the thing. I get the people as well who rightly want to say, no, get behind our captain, like he's going to be back again. He's resilient, he's strong, he's done this before. He'll be back and he'll be stronger. And I do get that. But also, we as a club have to start looking at this now in terms of like, we just can't do this forever. Like we something has to change soon. Whether it's him, whether it's us, something's got to change.
Yeah, 100%. I did give the High Performance podcast a listen. That interview with him this week, because
does he ever shut the fuck up? By the way, Graham Potter. Ever since he's come out back into the media, all he talks about is us. Go away, go get a real job. We know we paid you heavily to be able to like sit on your ass and like not work for a while. But, oh my god, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you know what?
Us.
Actually, I really agree with Ollie here, and I'd rather talk about an ex-Chelsea player and legend in Frank Lampard getting the commentary job.
Yeah,
I hope he does really well. Gets a lot of stick, but I actually think he'll do really well there.
That's a tough job. Tough job with Mark Robbins going, because obviously the Coventry fans loved him. So, I mean, that High Performance pod, it's a one and done for me. I won't be listening to it again. The honest truth, though, for me, Potter, he seems like a top guy. He's smart. He's thoughtful. He's the kind of manager for me who thrives in mid-table. There you go. I mean, he's not a winner, as in when you look at the elite caliber of manager. And every Chelsea press conference he did, it just screamed it louder than the champions, the Stamford Bridge on a Champions League night. And when you're the Chelsea manager, you need a bit of certain swagger, a certain
balls.
What? You need that. And he just wasn't built for that big stage. That's that's just who he is, and that's fine. You know, he was the job for him. What being Chelsea manager was like me wearing an XXL suit. It's just too big. And that's why I mean, how many jobs he turned down? Ajax, they're good clubs who are offering him. Leicester, apparently, as well. And at some point, you've got to take a taxi because there won't be any on the rank left.
Yeah, I'm just sick of hearing about him, to be honest. Like, some people, I guess, maybe they like hearing from him. They're interested to hear his perspective. But we've heard it all before already. Everything he's had to say, he said it already. Because he said it all. He said it all in the press conferences about the big squad and all the rest of it, and like the changes and what was going on upstairs and all of that. And I just don't care anymore, man. In terms of like a manager, this was like 3 managers ago. This is ancient history in terms of football. Just leave us alone.
I guess it's time. I guess it's time.
We do not care.
We haven't used that in a while.
The thing is, I think with Graham Potter, I mean, I don't know what you boys think, but I actually think he'd be a brilliant pundit, and he's kind of teased it in the past, and he's been on, I think, Monday Night Football. I think he'd be very good at that. I'm not saying he's not a good manager, but I think with how he analyses the game, how he talks, I think he's perfect for.
I know, but he can only talk about Chelsea. So
unfortunately, unfortunately as well, he's a massive wet blanket. So that is also going against him.
Ollie, just a question: Do you like Graham Potter?
What did he do to you?
What do you mean? What did you? He presided over the worst period in Chelsea history, ever.
Yeah, and we covered that on this pod. Incredible.
Yeah,
we did it.
He made me miserable.
We turned up. The team never turned up, but we did. So, right,
we were there every week.
Oh, yes. Time for that midweek match report because Chelsea took on FC Heidenheim in the Conference League. Oh, what a save by Jorgensen. Oh, another save. Oh, my word. This guy might be better than Petr Cech. Yes, because FC Heidenheim 0. Chelsea 2. We don't count offside goals here. Winners and losers, and we kick off with winners, of course. But I want to know, who have you got and how many have you got?
I've got 3 winners, obviously. So that's the rules.
3 and 2. Even though
I do think I've got 2. I think I've got 2 losers.
3 and 3.
Wow. Okay, that was unexpected. I'm surprised you found it was one of them very meh games. I found it wasn't.
It was hard. It was hard to find to fill out the winners and losers because. There really, like a lot of the game, there really was not a lot to it. It was very sort of something and nothing, wasn't it?
It was a second screen game for sure. Everyone knew where I was watching. I was watching the Thanksgiving football, and then I watched the extended highlights of the Chelsea game. And trust me, when I say extended, they weren't much longer than the regular highlights, which sort of told me a lot. So, you know what? I will go with my first winner. It is Filip Jorgensen.
He's on mine.
Blow the horn.
He's on mine.
Of course I will blow the horn. Oh yes. And honestly, I'm not sure what to say about my favourite Chelsea Dane. Oh, 90 minutes played, 11 saves made, 2.18 goals prevented, 7 saves inside the box, and 37 of 44 accurate passes. We have our new number one goalkeeper. Don't you dare think of starting Sanchez ever again. And the thing is about Jorgensen that I love is he's reliable with his passing. It's similar to a player that I think we've been linked with recently, and that's Liverpool's Kelleher. They're steady, composed, dependable goalkeepers. They're nothing like Sanchez in that regard. And I was I was so sorry. I was sold anyway before this game, but wow, come on.
I do agree with you, Mark, and Jorgensen's on my list because I thought he was absolutely fantastic. Some of the saves he made, unbelievable. What I will say about Jorgensen, I'm not convinced by his passing yet. I think in the Conference League, I think you kind of get away with it a bit more. I think what I will get from Jorgensen is if he plays against Liverpool, then plays well, or against a Man City or an Arsenal, someone like that, and then plays really well, then I'll start to think, okay, he's actually a really good goalkeeper. Unfortunately, if I was competition here, so no disrespect to Heidenheim, they obviously tested him really good, but the pressure and the press isn't as big as it probably would be against the Liverpool.
Yeah, okay. I think that's really fair, but if I actually really agree with you. I thought Jorgensen was really good. Like you say, Berth, I'm not super 100% convinced on his passing yet, although on the night it was pretty crisp, it was pretty good. I was more impressed with the shot stopping than anything, especially that, obviously, like Michael mentioned, that double save was excellent. Kept us in the game, for a lot of it. I think certainly now you have, with a performance like that, even though it is in the Conference League, people have been saying for so long, this is how players get themselves into the Premier League squad. And for Jorgensen, like, what more could he really have done to then be given an opportunity at some point in the Premier League in the near future? I think you've at least got to try it, haven't you?
Well, I mean, there was a reason Enzo didn't play. He weren't even on the squad. And that just sort of tells you enough.
Yeah.
He didn't play for obvious reasons because we know where he's going to be. I mean, for me, the negatives, he does have negatives. I can't be completely biased. But it's that neither of them are setting the world alight with their feet, because that's how we play. We play out from the back. But when it comes to keeping calm and just distributing the ball when he's under pressure, I think that's what separates him from Sanchez. And if we're honest, they make both of those keepers actually make Sanchez look like he's trying to play FIFA with the broken controller. Yeah. I would start him. I would start him, and that's just a fact. And that's it's better.
The calm thing actually is a point to make, because there was one point I remember watching in the game where, like, he put his foot on the ball, like, put his studs on the ball, and he almost put his arms out to the rest of the team, like sort of a calm down type of motion. And like, how opposite of that is that to Sanchez, where you've got a player who actively calms down his defense versus one that actively stresses them out.
The thing is, though, with Sanchez, his demeanor and his sort of like stature is actually very calm. Even on the ball, he's almost too calm, Sanchez, and that's why he makes a lot of mistakes.
So it stresses you out.
100%, yeah. But I don't, and this is the part I was trying to make earlier. I don't think until Jorgensen plays against a big team in the Prem and plays well, I don't think he'll 100% get that confidence from his defence straight away.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Berth, who's your second winner?
It's Mykhailo Mudryk.
Yeah, he's sort of on mine as part of a duo, but go on.
I mean, his finish was absolutely ridiculous. Like, you couldn't get more top bins if you tried, really, could you?
Yeah, so unnecessarily top bins.
But you know what? I mean, this competition is actually perfect for Mudryk because he's kind of out of the limelight a bit more. He's getting goals, he's getting assists, he's looking sharp, he's playing well, and it gives him confidence going into the Premier League. He's obviously not going to start in the Prem, but at least when he comes on now, he's got goals behind his belt. He's got assists, and he's got that confidence, which is what we want from him. Because there is a player in there somewhere deep down, and it's just good to see him sort of thriving. And he was a threat all night. He beat his man, looked to be positive on the ball, didn't really give the ball away much. And yeah, like I said, his finish was just brilliant, really, wasn't it?
I really liked his positioning, when he drifts inside like that for a finish. I haven't really seen him do that very much. Like, he does it when he has the ball, but that was one scenario where actually he did it when he didn't have the ball. Like, he ghosted into the box. And if he adds that into his game a bit more, he can be really dangerous because he hits the ball fucking hard, doesn't he? And if he can keep it on target like he has done lately, then I mean, he's going to cause teams some problems.
I mean, I'll throw mine in. I've got Mudryk and Sancho. I paired them together because they were both, for me, decent. Sancho obviously bagged another 2 assists. Mudryk scored an unnecessary top bins goal. It was bloody good, though. They were creative and lively throughout the game, and I just thought, you know what, both of them sandwiched it together in a package. They were very good. They were very good. Ollie, who's your second winner?
It dovetails well into what I was going to say, because Sancho was my second winner. I thought he was really, really inventive, really creative. He was that spark for a lot of the game. Like, we really seemed to struggle, especially in the first half, with sort of how to break Heidenheim down. They were a team that were running really hard for each other. They were sitting in a nice sort of deep to mid block. And so their goal clearly was to make it hard for us, and they were saying, you have to break us down. And I was a bit concerned about that, especially after having watched the first half, because we didn't really make that happen as much in the first half. But then at some point, Sancho just really started to turn it on, and he was kind of just unlocked the defence. He was making those dribbles, making those passes. The cutbacks for both goals were really important. It's a key difference actually to what I've seen with like someone like Noni Madueke do. Doesn't always cut the ball back. Instead, he might shift it onto his other foot and try and shoot, or he might try and cross it instead. Sometimes a cutback is the perfect thing you need in a situation like that. And I really like Sancho because his game intelligence for things like that is really strong. He always seems to know what to do in the right moments. Yeah, deserves his flowers because he hasn't played much lately, and hopefully we'll see more of him.
Yeah, 100%. You know what? I'll round out my final winner, and then let Berth go with his because I've got the offside trap. Because
Mikey,
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest. Heidenheim found themselves flagged offside 6 times last night.
It was 7.
Was it 7?
Yeah, I read it was 7. Craziness, isn't it?
That was a masterclass. I mean, credit where it's due. The back line for that was sharp, disciplined, and they were switched on. It's no small feat, to maintain that level of focus and coordination, especially against a side that's trying to exploit every gap they could, and also a team that you feel like, not in an arrogant way, you're better than. Yeah, that's quite something.
They just couldn't stay on side though, bless them, could they? Like their main striker just was living offside. Like he just could not time his runs correctly, bless him. And I think it's a bit of column A and B, isn't it? It was partially us, it was partially them, but we'll take the credit for it, I suppose, because we seem to be using like this sort of on the edge of the box offside trap at the moment. And hey, I mean, if it works, it works.
It's not quite the high line that Ange played against us, but it's something.
No.
It's Berth. Who round off your winners for us?
So my final winner is Maresca, and that might seem a bit sort of out of character, but I think not necessarily because of the game last night, but I think he's actually handling this squad really, really well. I think he's managing them really well. He's giving everyone game time. I think his lineups are very good. I think he's just getting it right in all the competitions at the moment. I know Newcastle, Carabao Cup weren't great, but I think how he's handling his Europa League squad, then going into the Premier League, he's still filtering players from the B team, so to speak, to the sort of starting lineup on a Saturday or Sunday. And I think he's managing it really well. Like, João Felix got a start last week, didn't start on Thursday, might get a start on Sunday. Enzo, perfect example, dropped all together this week in the Conference League, probably going to start on Sunday. So I think he's just handling the games and the squad, because it is a massive squad, really, really well. And I don't think that should be overlooked, because I think a lot of managers, we mentioned Potter earlier, really struggled with that. And he's seemingly keeping everyone on board and keeping everyone happy at the moment. So yeah, got to give him some flowers.
You're fully right, Berth. That's no easy feat. And I think a lot of the match-growing fans are agreeing with you, actually, because this time I was hearing us support a bit of Enzo Maresca at the end of the game. And, it's really nice to hear that. It's been a while since we've had a manager that it feels like the whole squad and the whole fan base even can really get behind. So it's really nice to hear it.
Are we ready to move on to the losers of a very...
Sure.
Listeners going, you went through those quick. Are you just ready to bash the team? No, it was just one of those games which you're going to forget we did it. You're going to forget the game.
There wasn't all that much to talk about on both sides of it. We'll probably get through the losers pretty quick as well.
I've got 2 losers. So first up, Mark Yu. He just didn't have his shooting boots on.
Yeah.
He didn't have his shooting boots on. 4 chances in the first 10 minutes. It's almost criminal not to convert at least one of those, especially the opposition you're against. I mean, that's the difference between a promising striker and a great one. A clinical finisher makes the most of those opportunities, especially in any big European game. And you'd think this is his chance to look, he's not going to displace Jackson. However, he could make Maresca have a think. And he didn't. Maybe it's down to the inexperience. I'm not going to be too cruel. But the composure, decision-making and the instinct needed in their moments, often they just sort of come with time, don't they? But of course, at this level, you need to punish teams when the chances like that come your way, because you're going to get a couple. Obviously, in the Premier League, you're going to get one a game, maybe. And hopefully this just serves as like a learning experience. But they could have easily come back to haunt us, because the way Heidenheim were, that was probably the toughest Europa Conference game, whatever Conference League game for me that I've seen so far. It was the toughest one. So that's why he's a loser for me. It's nitpicky, but I had to pick somebody. So
yeah, I'm kind of with you, Mikey. Like that, I actually think for a lot of the game that Gil got himself into some really, really good positions a lot.
Oh, he did.
And I don't want to criticize him too much for that, because he always, he seemed to be running about a lot, doing all the right things and getting himself into those positions to receive the ball in the first place, which as a striker is half the battle. It's just a shame that the other half is finishing your chances. And when you're playing in the Conference League and you're playing in competitions like this, these are the moments where you have to seize your opportunities in order to stamp your authority on the squad. You know, you don't want to be saying like you don't want to be in a situation for Gu if you're Gu, where in a year you're looking at either being loaned out or whatever. You want to be like cementing yourself as a major part of the squad going forward. You know, even if it's a bit part role, because you're so young, you know, you can build on it. But in these competitions, in these moments, you have to seize your opportunities in order to make that happen. And if he doesn't, then well, it might be, you know, that his future here is in question come the summer. You never know.
Yeah. Right. Berth, who's your first loser?
Excitement. Because
it was a boring game, wasn't it?
We've really made that point, haven't we?
I don't really want to sound too much like Chris, but this competition, it
wasn't a real game.
It's hard to sort of kind of get really excited for it. Really, I mean, we're by far the best squad on paper in that competition, and it kind of shows in all the games so far. And it's hard to get really sort of going for the game and to get motivated to watch the game. Like, obviously, I watched it and I'm glad that we won, but it's almost like when I watch England play in a Nations League game, and it's like
against like Luxembourg or something, and you're like, we should be winning this. Yeah,
you should be winning. I'm glad we've won. You know, it's hard to analyse, and it's like there's no real excitement in it at the moment. So it's
you don't learn anything, you know.
Yeah,
like Chris would say, it's not a real game.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I kind of agree with Chris, but
it's not a real game.
Excitement. Exactly, Chris. Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Ollie, what was your first loser?
So my first one was Gu, but my second one was the commentators, because oh my god, the amount of times I heard them call Gu, his name's Gu, they called him Gu about 400 times. And honestly, how hard is it as a commentator to know how to pronounce the names of the players that you're talking about? I get it. There are loads of players. This is a niche competition with youth players and, you know, players from teams that you've never heard of before. But my God, just do some fucking due diligence, please. Because I had to listen to him be called Gu the whole night, and it drove me mental.
If only Chelsea had done something before the season kicked off with players and they're pronouncing their names. If only.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll go with my second loser. It is it's Berth's win, sort of. I've got the future Enzo Maresca. Now, I can already see who the real loser is going to be on Sunday afternoon. So for the Monday show, it's going to be Enzo Maresca when he drops the team sheet against Villa. And I see Robert Sanchez is starting. And then again on Wednesday against Southampton. And then, of course, once more against Spurs. Because for me, Sanchez has to be dropped. He costs us more games than he wins. Jorgensen might not be world-class yet. I know that. I'm not stupid. But he gives Chelsea a far better shot at keeping a clean sheet. And it's just time for Maresca to stop gambling with points and make the switch. Because if you're going to go, we'll wait till Sanchez makes a mistake. He's done enough. He's made enough mistakes. I just don't see why we don't just give it a chance. And you go, his confidence will be shattered. I just think I'd pick Jorgensen. I would.
Realistically, I think what's going to happen is, I think you're right, Mikey. I think realistically, it is going to have to take probably Jorgensen playing at a higher level for a bit more time, and then Sanchez costing
100%.
us.
I think an injury or a red card. I think that's the only way.
Yeah, maybe, but I think if without either of them, I think it's going to take Jorgensen playing at a better level for a bit longer, and then Sanchez costing us to a degree that we Enzo Maresca himself says enough is enough now, because you're right. I'm already not looking forward to that lineup on the basis that Rob Sanchez is going to be in it. And listen, maybe that's a bit hard. Rob Sanchez is a professional footballer somehow, and but and he has won us points and he has done well in games for us this season. Like the Bournemouth game springs to mind early on. But you're right. You just can't rely on him. And as a goalkeeper, that's the worst trait to have.
100%. Berth, who's your next loser?
It's my final loser, actually. That's Axel Disasi.
Awful game in general, to be honest.
That one point where he got dribbled past was awful. Like, do you remember? Like, you know exactly what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
he got
Like,
megged. He got
He
megged.
got megged.
how are you playing right back and you're standing straight up at someone like that? Get your head over the ball, over the ball. You know, like over your knees. Like, bend a little bit. Be a little side on.
It's not even that. You have to be side on in that. I mean, look, he's a much better footballer than I'll ever be. But for me, like, the obvious mistake there was he was standing too sort of straight. He has to be side on a little bit so he can send him down the line. He was
amateur hour though, isn't it? Like that's
yeah,
something a Sunday league manager will tell you.
yeah, 100%. But yeah, he was poor all game. I don't think he. Again, it's a hard game to judge. Really, I don't think he was awful by any means, but there's a few mistakes and a few times where he's out of position. I thought you're not having the best game against not the best opposition. So
Do you know what's weird though about Disasi is like he seems like the biggest, clumsiest footballer you've ever seen, and yet whenever he dribbles, he never loses the ball.
And you know what? Fingers with him as well. He actually can be a really good defender. Like there's times where actually he plays really well. Like that Man City game last year, fantastic. But at the minute, I watch him and he's just way too clumsy and way too many mistakes for me at the moment for him.
Yeah. Right, Ollie, round off your losers for us.
Links big into what Berth was saying, but more generally, just defending. You know, like I thought that as much as we kept a clean sheet. I actually thought the defending at times was pretty poor. Heidenheim scored 2 offside goals. They were lucky in effect. They weren't that offside either. You know, if on a slightly worse day, or if the striker strimes their run a bit better, they give us a bit of a tough game. And I think we're talking very differently about this game. You know, just because the result went away, I think like it's kind of something and nothing, and it's one and done. But the defending for me just really wasn't all that impressive at all. You know, like especially the centre backs. I really wanted to see a little bit more from Tosin. Wanted to see more from Disasi, obviously centre back playing at right back. But yeah, I'm just not convinced by him. And it does make me worry because if we get an injury at any point to our back line, that's who we've got coming in as to fill the gap, and it seems like quite a big drop off, at least to me.
Mm-hmm. I guess that's it for that. I mean, we moved to the emoji game review, and for me, I've got a shrug because
it's not a real game,
So I was like, yeah, cool. Yeah. A lot of people kept saying this isn't a real game, and I was like, I love the fact that listeners now have got. It's almost like a catchphrase. It's like a meme in itself. It's like it's not a real game. I love it. I love it so much.
I don't know. Berth, do you have an emoji? Because I can't think of one.
It's not a real game. I just had a thumbs up. Sorry, I actually accidentally muted my mic then. I just had a thumbs up just because. Well, yeah. What else can you say? Really, it's not much you can do.
Yeah, I'll go with the sleeping emoji because other than Mudrik's goal, it was pretty boring.
There we go. So Quaresma's questions.
Wait, did we not do line of the midweek?
Oh, of course we did. Look at me. I've done that.
Mikey. Come on, Mikey.
Hang on. Let me find the sound.
What kind of Mickey Mouse operation are we running here?
Yeah, it's not very good because we've got to pick the line of the weekend as well. So, who did we have in midweek? We had Berth pick Mudryk. Nice shout.
Nice, that's a good choice, mate.
That's a good one.
Chris Chukwu. Yeah, well, no.
Yeah, barely played.
You had Vega. The wheel went with Dewsbury Hall, and I went with Nkunku. I'm happy to give that to Berth, if I'm honest.
I think Mudryk.
Do you know what? I think it's also worth saying that I thought Dewsbury Hall wasn't bad, and I
thought he was good. Yeah.
Listen, I don't really enjoy watching him play football at all, but in the game yesterday, he was cutting about, he was doing all the right things. He'd only really just missed out on being a winner, in some ways for me. So, worth pointing out that he was actually all right. And in terms of line of the week, it wasn't the worst guess in the world from the wheel.
You know what? The actual line of the week is Filip. It's got to be Jorgensen, which is not the best thing when it's a keeper. It's not the best. Yeah. So. This weekend, we're taking on Aston Villa in the Premier League. Who are we choosing? Because I haven't actually thought of anyone.
Yeah, I haven't thought about this much.
Come on, Wheel.
It's going to be difficult, isn't it?
I'm going to go for Carousel.
I think that midfield battle is going to be important. They do have a lot of midfielders, Villa, and they've got good attackers as well. So I don't know. Maybe we should be picking sort of more defensive-minded players. It's going to be a difficult game. What has the Wheel said, Mikey?
Badia Shield.
Will he play?
I have
Yeah,
no
he might.
idea.
Might. He played last week, didn't he? Against Leicester, right?
Yes, I
Yeah,
think so.
on the left hand side. I think he's played recently. I think I'll go with. I don't know. I'm gonna give it to Colwill. I'm gonna say he's
Nice,
gonna
okay.
I like it. I like that.
lock up Watkins, lock up Duran.
You know what? I've gone for. I'm going for Palmer. I'm expecting him to get back into Palmer form. That's
Nice.
what. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. I'm confident. If I say it enough times, it will come true. Yeah, I'm confident he'll get it. He'll get it this week. Yes. And this is Quaresma's questions, and of course, I teased it earlier in the show. It's a shout out and a question. It's from Lane, and they've said, "Hi guys, listener from Australia here. I absolutely love the pod. You guys never fail to make me laugh, and I wish I'd discovered it sooner. So first, thank you.
Thank you.
And now the
Thank
question. Now the question. Do you think if we make the final of the Conference League, we should start the B squad, or would you be expecting to see guys like Palmer and Jackson starting, or even just for the knockouts in general? Would seem a bit stiff for Nkunku, Mudryk, etc., considering that they would have gotten us to that stage. I think that's a bloody good question.
It is a good question. I was actually having the conversation earlier. I do think Palmer and Jackson and Carousel will be in the squad come the knockouts. I don't think they're going to play. I still think this team's gelling. They're clearly one of the best teams in this Conference League. So I think, for me, I think they're more than good enough to win it on their own. So you don't need Palmer, you don't need Jackson, you don't need Carousel. So for me, they've got to stick it out with this team.
I can see them coming on in the like subs.
Yeah,
I actually disagree with you on that one. I think if it's a final, and I think you're silly to not use your strongest team in a final. Now, if we have another game that might be deemed more important at the time, maybe then it's worth having that discussion about minutes and who gets their minutes managed, because you want people to be fit for all the games. Even like if we're chasing say top 3 or something like that, and we need everyone fit in the Premier League, I can see that. But for me, you can't leave your best players off the pitch for a final. You just can't.
Yeah, I do see that. I do see that.
Okay, who starts in goal?
Jorgensen.
See what I mean? You've just said he's our best player. See, I did it. I got
he's our best. He's our best goalie. He's definitely our best goalie. Exactly. The bar is in hell.
Right. First, we've got a double Reece James question. So from Justin and Campos, I'll combine them. Justin says he personally thinks we have to sell Reece James, but how much would you let him go for? And then Campos said, at what point is enough with Reece? Apparently 20 million and clauses, apparently.
I mean, I think we're at that stage now where I think every Chelsea fan, even slightly reluctantly, will say we should probably sell Reece James now, because it's just... I think for me, you've got to look at 50 million minimum.
I don't think it's a realistic prospect to sell him, because who's going to buy him with his injury record? No, I think exactly. So unless he's going to go to maybe Italy or Spain, or like somewhere with a warmer climate, maybe that helps his joints or something. Maybe, I don't know, but I think certainly in England or Germany or a colder climate, like he's going to be exactly the same. And so I can't see any team from the northern hemisphere really almost like taking a punt on him in that way. Because especially for the money that would be involved, like I get it, like it's a good gamble in a sense, because if you do get the Reece James that everyone would like him to be, then you've got an absolutely world-class player on your hands. It's just how likely are you going to get that? You're just not.
I feel like both things are true. Like we should sell him, but we also have to be careful in selling him, because he's kind of like the big figurehead of the academy. Like when you think of the academy right now, he won the Champions League with us. He went from dreaming of playing for us to lifting the biggest prize in club football, and he's also the captain of the club. It's the problem is he barely plays, and he's on that huge wage.
The one thing I will say about that is a lot of people said, when they were selling a lot of the other academy players, people went, well, what happens when they go and sell Reece James? And everyone went, they're not going to sell Reece James. And now what? Because I get it. Maybe it's for different reasons, but we know that the academy is pure profit, and I think the owners would try and capitalize on that if they could. So, but for me, I just don't think it's a realistic prospect, because I'm not sure at this point who would not. It sounds harsh to say who would take him, but I think who would buy him? Like it just for me, it just doesn't seem realistic.
Well, who needs a right back? You go Real Madrid. If they're going to get anyone, they'll go Trent.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Liverpool need a right back, so they might go for Reece. I just don't see. I don't see where the market is, because again, like you said, an injury-prone player, that's a huge risk. It's a huge risk, and
sure.
People aren't going to pay for that. They're just not going to do it. How many times do our fan base kick off when we go for an injury-prone player?
Yeah,
that's the thing. Isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the thing. Right, we will end the show with Berth's favourite, because he needs to win. It's the Lone Army.
No, you don't.
Carousel.
You don't need to win.
Ollie, look, I can't rig anything. I can't.
You know
it's
what
in
this
my
is?
contract. It's in my contract. I have to play fair.
When Berth beats me, it's going to be, like when the guy has to put down Old Yeller. That's what it's going to be like.
We've got how many weeks? We've got 4 more carousels, and as it stands, Ollie can tie. He has to win out. Ollie has to win out.
Yeah.
So the category is the champions, because the 2024-25 Champions League group stage is well underway. But can you name me all 36 teams who are participating in this year's competition? And if any clever thing from Berth to go Chelsea, well, I'll give the point to Chris and he'll win. So I will go to Ollie. Name me a team in this season's Champions League group stage. Super group stage.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
Inter Milan.
Yeah.
Manchester City.
Mm-hmm.
Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Dortmund.
Yep.
Aston Villa.
Yep.
Juventus.
Yep.
Leverkusen.
Yep.
Brest.
Yep.
Monaco.
Yep.
Feyenoord.
Yep.
Benfica.
Yes. Oh, good showing so far.
Shakhtar.
Oh, yes.
Celtic.
Yep.
Monaco.
Oh!
I said Monaco!
Oh, it's over!
Yes!
Ollie's won!
Yes!
Oh, my word. He's screwed up there. He's done a Sanchez.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's already been said.
Chris, I'm really sorry. I do apologise about that.
Don't say it like that. He's going to think you did it on purpose.
Ollie within 2. He's within 2 now. 12 wins to 14.
Cover for you, Chris.
I'll
I'm
be
coming
honest,
for you.
that was actually really hard because I was just forgetting all the names that Ollie had said. And I was just like...
That was the strategy. I thought if I go quickly, he's going to forget.
Yeah. No, Ollie played a good game there. Ollie just... Yeah. I'll be honest. I'm not playing for anything right now. I'm just playing for the enjoyment of the game. I need to get my confidence
He's playing to ruin my day, is what he's playing for.
I just want to find the love again.
I've survived another
Carousel,
week.
So
I'll survive another week. Will it be next week that Chris gets the title? We'll see.
Right, you should have had AC Milan, Atalanta, Atletico, Bayern, Bologna, Club Brugge, Dinamo Zagreb, Girona, Lille, PSG, PSV, RB Leipzig, RB Salzburg, Real Madrid, come on, Red Star Belgrade, Slovan Bratislava, Sparta Prague, Sporting Club de Portugal, Sturm Graz, Stuttgart, and Young Boys. There we go.
I didn't say Real Madrid because I couldn't remember actually whether
you couldn't remember they were in it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's hard to remember all of them.
So that's why I didn't want to go for him because I was like, it's so obvious. I can't do it.
Well, we got it.
Has France been said?
No, they haven't. We'll drop it.
Has France been said?
Oh, it's classic. So, we got a Thursday show next week because of Southampton, and I'm out Friday night. So, anyway, listeners, we are at the end of another episode. So, thank you as always for listening to this episode. Treat yourself well. We're back on Monday with winners and hopefully more winners and losers from Chelsea and Aston Villa, because of course the women's team are on their international break, so it's just Chelsea and Aston Villa from the men's teams. Until then, that will be us signing off.
You've been listening to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At the Bridge Pod, and if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.